Thanks for joining.
Very happy to have you guys here. I'm always scared to put headphones in because I'm like, is that going to affect the audio? What's going on?
See, I have to use headphones because I need to upgrade my phone, but that's a whole other thing. But I cannot even use it without headphones now. It's so annoying. I'm upgrade. I'm gonna get it together. But I'm like, look, I don't want to like buy another phone.
No,
It
for
works,
real.
but no, I'm gonna upgrade this year because the new camera quality. I need that. I
Yeah.
need all of that.
Dude, and also, I really want a new phone just so I can have one phone for content and then one phone for like to be my actual phone. Because
That's
what I'm
smart.
not doing is paying $10 a month for iCloud storage. Like, bitch, what?
See, nah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Definitely
Yes,
the whole
what is
thing.
up, Nikki?
Yes. Thank
I'm
you
so
guys for
excited to be here.
coming. Thank you guys for coming. I am excited to have people here. Hello, the big house. Hey, I feel like I've seen you on the other live stream that we had last week. So if you're coming back, thanks for coming back. All right. Instead of having everybody waiting, we will just kick things off.
Let's
and
let's do it.
let's start with you, Jazz. I mean, I know some things about you, you know. I know that we're both from the Bay. I know that you went to Sac State. Um,
Yes.
yeah. But I would love for you to kind of just do your own self-introduction. And then we could talk about how we cross paths and, you know, have started building our platforms together because we do the exact same thing
We do.
and we're
I love
so
it.
niche that it's like, why would we compete? Like, there's definitely enough space for the both of
For
us.
sure, for sure. Yeah, I love the community that we've been building. And I've been on a lot of live events, and I keep saying, like, you think I have my introduction just like nailed down by now, especially with all the discovery calls I do. But every time I'm just like, dang, like, where do I even start? But yeah, no, excited to be here. Shout out everyone in the room. It's great to see y'all in the chat. My name is Jazz Jackson. I'm a digital marketer, artist manager, and A&R, among a multitude of other titles, but that's what I go with these days. I have been doing marketing for, I don't know, over 10 years at this point. So I got my start in marketing before Instagram was a thing. So I have been doing organic social since Tumblr days, MySpace days, early Facebook,
Dang.
all of that. So I have seen the evolution of social and marketing. I did go to Sac State though, and I did get my bachelor's of arts in film production. So I didn't go to LA and go the film route necessarily. I I fell in love with blogging, photography, still love videography, but the writing and the photo portions when blogs were really in their heyday,
Yes.
the early blogger era, that's what I fell into. So social media marketing really, like, it was a thing, but the socials were so early that there weren't early job listings
Right.
for it. So I definitely have created a lot of my own opportunities in social, and I've been definitely more in the realm of influencer marketing, brand partnerships over the last 7 or 8 years, working with a multitude of big brands, so enterprise clients, but also small businesses in some cases. But some of the brands I just left last year to launch Unearthly were Popeyes, Microsoft. I work with Puma, Circle K. Those were some of my, Samsung was my client too. So I work with them primarily on organic social and influencer campaigns.
Mhm.
So finding, the coolest, celebrities, content creators within different niches to fill campaigns and, create content, bring it to
Mhm.
life. So I was executing a lot of different campaigns, which was so fun. But definitely have switched gears like around like 3 or 4 years ago. I started to just go to a lot more concerts when I was living in Sac in the Bay Area.
Mhm.
And people knew I worked in marketing, so I was already getting questions around like music rollouts and like how can they market their EP or their project release. And then 2019, 2020 was like when TikTok was getting started. So a lot of people were asking me questions just around like how to build on these social platforms. So that's really what gave me like my into more of the music marketing side, and figured out, oh, this is a whole niche. This is a whole thing. Obviously, artists need to market their music, but I was just so deep an influencer that I didn't even think about music marketing as something that I would be great at doing or wanting to do. But I was like, I love marketing, but I'm ready for a change. Let's try this out. So I've been here. Someone in the chat said a multitude of other titles. I was like, I do so many things. Like, it's like I do this and this and this, but also this. So anything. Anyway, like, y'all, you can be multifaceted and multi-gifted. So own it.
You really
can.
You can really, and that's the thing. I feel like our generation, something that I always came up with in the back of my mind is that if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. And so I didn't see myself as a creative because I was always so organized. And so I was like, no, I'm not a creative because I'm organized. That's my skill. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, bro, what creative agency do you know that has no producers? No people organizing the shit. No people making sure that it's happening. No people keeping track of timelines and deadline. Like all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
much work behind the scenes just so people know. To bring all the content y'all see to life, whether it's your favorite influencer posting, brand partnerships, deals, when content goes live, like those campaign live weeks, it's just like 3-4 months of hard work, deadlines, like you said, like all of these pieces to bring the logistics together. So that was my life. Sometimes when I pull my hair out, it is not easy to coordinate a multitude of people, especially celebrities. They like to do what they want. But no, I feel you. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ooh, so you were at a marketing company and then you discovered the music niche. So how did you go from how did you build a clientele base that was strong enough for you to say, I'm going to leave this marketing company and have my own artist management creative agency?
Yeah. I will definitely say I'm one of the people that I dream big and then I dream bigger. And I just knew what I want to do and my vision for the impact I know I'm meant to make. I couldn't do it working for somebody else. So that was always the biggest stickler. And, I had to talk to God about it a lot of times. And it was like, because obviously I could have gone the realm of let me just find a role at, a label, a DSP, like some other music, industry job. Could have. But I also was one of those, I just had this inkling and I had to follow my gut of I'm meant to build something from the ground up, something that's new, something that's different for many reasons. So that's kind of where I always knew, at the core root, I was going to build something on my own. It was just a matter of timing. So backtracking into building up clientele and client base, that really started from the community that I was building on Twitter. I will definitely say Twitter X, whichever name y'all want to go with. I got to go with Twitter.
It's Twitter till the death of me, okay? I'm gonna call you what your mama named you.
Care what Musk says. Anyway.
Hey, Solomon.
It started. What's up, Solomon? Thank you for joining. Hi, Odom. I see you in the chat too. But yeah, I kind of got started with my Twitter community first. I was already following so many artists. I didn't even know what A&R was at the time. But artist discovery been my thing. I look at I have hundreds of playlists, and I'm just dang, I've been really finding artists for years.
Yeah.
But it was just I love music, so I just love to listen to music in general. So I do that all the time. I'm I don't care if you have 0 monthly listeners. I found a lot of great artists where that's the case, and I'm just no, I could hear it. No, they're gonna do something. They're gonna do something. Y'all, my artist predictions have never been wrong yet. Just saying. But I just started following artists on Twitter, kind of just building community there, watching a lot of rollouts, just really honing more in on the music marketing side of things, and just seeing a lot. So I feel like I was doing market research on Twitter for years, building relationships, asking a lot of questions, sharing my thoughts, just sharing gems off the rip and adding value in that way. And people were engaging with them. They found value. So I was like, okay, let me share more of this. So
Yeah.
was doing that for a long time. And, the right relationships aligned where artists wanted to work with me. Like that's how Seth and I built, where, we connected on Twitter first. So I was already a fan of his music, was like already knew of him. But in time, we just made that connection. And then like we fostered a partnership from there. But it's crazy because most of my clients like Twitter, like leads and stuff, like it's all from
Yeah.
Twitter. So I've just built a community there, and that's how most of my current clients are still coming in. Is from, hey, I've been following you for months on Twitter, love what you're sharing, what you're talking about, etc. And then they inquire about services and such.
Yeah. I honestly, so Printed Raps, they commented and said, interesting to hear how everyone has a different entry point into the music realm. And
Yeah.
it's so crazy because like you can go to like a music school, they exist. Like there's the Berkeley College, and then there's also like a music school, Columbia out in Chicago. Like they exist where a lot of people in the music industry have come from. But yeah, a lot of people in music, they find their way here. It's not like this is the only
Yeah.
thing that I've been working in. And I know for me, I started off in television and then transitioned into music. And I suffered with imposter syndrome for a really long time because I didn't start working in music until I was 25, as opposed to all of the other peers that are like in the same place in their career as me. They are younger than me. And so that was making me feel like I was behind. But it's like, no, bro, it makes sense. Like you're going to be where they are in their career because of what age you got started. If someone got started at 21, you got started at 25, you'll grow together. But you know what I'm saying? Like you can't really base your progress off of what other people are doing. And even when another great point about like everybody having kind of like their different niches is you finding your client base on Twitter. Like majority of my clients are on TikTok. Like the reason why I'm going live on IG is to start to kind of grow this organically, because like going live on TikTok, there might be more like followers, but they're not our community. They're not people who actually know us. So I would rather have like, 10 to 12 people in a small on a small IG live than for me to have like 200 people. What's up, Kaylin? Me to have a bunch of people on my TikTok live that are just like whatever, you know what I'm saying, that are just doing anything. And so yeah, it's really interesting. Like and it's so funny also to hear you say that as soon as TikTok became a thing, people were asking you for help on how to market your music. It's like, bro, this app just got here. Like, let it be here for a second. like what market research is there for me to even help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't even know what performs well on the app. Like, give it a second, let it breathe.
Yeah. It's so interesting, especially as new platforms come, and there's a lot more platforms out there that have millions of users on it that we don't even think about. Like even like stuff like Be Real. Like a lot of people are like, what's Be Real? I was like, that's a big platform for Gen Z. There's all these other platforms and communities that are still relevant. So that's a whole other social media thing. But yeah, no, not Twitter. I mean TikTok. I talk about TikTok a lot. I don't use TikTok like as much, so I'm not active there really. So it's just not the short form platform I've chosen to zero my like efforts in on just yet. But I've like been running TikTok campaigns for years. So I'm like always on the platform. So yeah, it's great. Still a platform great for building like organic reach and finding new followers and fan base and music discovery, obviously.
Yeah.
is happening on that platform too. So
Yeah.
TikTok, what's up?
And it's
Oh, thank you
just like
everyone for
creatives,
being here, y'all.
just like
Yeah.
creatives and other music artists, like you have to find the platform that you fuck with and that fucks with you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a,
Yeah.
like, of course you want to promote yourself on as many platforms as possible, but that can be so overwhelming that it'll just make you not want to do anything at all. So instead of overwhelming yourself trying to be everywhere, why don't you focus on where you already have like a fan base, or focus on what you're trying to do, because these apps do different things. Instagram is really great for community building. Twitter is really great for conversation. Like you can just
Right.
post so much on Twitter because you don't have to worry about how things look. It's the only app where it's like we could just talk. We can just talk about stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
I
why I
don't have
love
to.
it. I love Twitter. I keep
Yeah.
telling people that's my favorite platform. And then there's other people who do not like it, despise it, won't touch it. And it's like you have to just find the platforms that like work for you. And I tell like building strategy for my artists and clients, it's always hone in on a few and like get really good at using them.
Mm,
So you don't need to be on every
yeah.
platform. As long as you got your long form platform, you got your at least one or two platforms for short form content. Start there versus saying, oh, I need to manage 6 social channels right now. Like you don't. Let's cut some of these out and then zero in here and then go from there. But less is often more.
Yeah.
Especially when social is not something you live and
Right.
breathe like we do.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's overwhelming.
I was like,
And then,
let me just do this.
yeah. And Kaylin, so you said, do you know any artists who have had success on LinkedIn? And we'll have a question portion, you guys, at the end. But Kaylin's my friend from high school, so I'm going to answer him.
Go for it. And yeah, y'all can put them in the question box too.
Yeah, put them in the question box. We'll get you.
Lose them.
But for LinkedIn is a good place to network if you don't know anyone in the music industry. So if you're not in a place like Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, a metropolitan, that you know what I'm saying, that it's easy for you to step outside and go to music events and build a community. You're not going to run into playlist curators down the street all the time. So going on LinkedIn, figuring out who works at these playlists, you know what I'm saying? Like, or who works at these DSPs, not playlists, but they make the playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are the people who's the head of R&B, the head of my genre, whatever. That is what LinkedIn is more so for a tool. But I'm gonna let you know right now, like plenty of music artists come into my inbox. Don't jump into my inbox on any platform asking me to manage you. It's please don't. It's just, that's just not the way to do it. It's got to be a relationship. Don't start your relationship asking for something. Imagine like going on the first date,
1000%.
not even the first date, but like you're on fucking Tinder, first message, let's fuck. Like, oh my God, can we get there? Like, wait, can we
Oh
hold
my
on.
goodness.
Can I get a date first? My God, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just like, no, like let's build a relationship. And if that's something that happens, great, but you should focus on building relationships first and foremost, not just, I need this, I need this, I need this. It becomes transactional. And then if the relationship is
1000%.
transactional, the only thing that you guys are talking about is transactions, you should pay me for that.
No, I feel it. And it's so crazy. Like at least every other week there's someone asking about management and I always have to say no. I tell people no all the time. Like for many reasons. One, I don't even have the capacity to manage 10, 15 artists, nor I don't want to. Like
No desire.
don't even want to. I'm not that superwoman. And also too, like you're absolutely right in terms of relationship building. Even with the artists that I've been locked in with, it's now been like a year and a half, 2 years of relationship building, and a lot has to happen, in the course of building a relationship. Like you said, it's not just business. Like you are intertwined in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like this is someone you have to like really care about as a human, as a person. Like yes, love their music and love their artistry and go hard for them there, but like you have to care about each other as people, because at the end of the day, management's all about building a team. So there's a lot that goes into that. So I feel you. I feel you. If there's any artists that are like looking for management or inquiring about it, just know these relationships take time. But I promise you, if you build and build, do the work, the right people will find you, and the right things will align. So don't rush it. Don't rush that relationship. I feel like that's one of my biggest things. Like, people be so quick to lock in with somebody. It was like, you can take your time to get to know people, and I highly suggest you do.
Yep. Exactly. Like, I manage one artist right now. Her name is Ayana. And I'm going to tell y'all, that took months. It took months for me to agree to manage her. I met her in, like, my friend told me about her in like February. She had her first show out here in LA in March. We went out to lunch in like July, because she doesn't even live out here. She lives in Atlanta. So she came back. We went to lunch in July. And then she asked me to manage her in October. And, it, like I said, like from March to, October, like that's a long time. But we had met multiple times. We had multiple conversations, and I just felt like I can help her. Like, I absolutely want to help her. So Jazz, I want to transition. I want to go more into like success in the creative space. And I want to kind of pick your brain about your approach to digital marketing and artist management. I really want to know like how you are able to service your clients, what services you provide, how you decided that those were the services that you were going to provide. Because again, you came from a corporate marketing company, marketing brands like Puma and McDonald's, and you know what I'm saying? So how were you like, these are the services that I'm going to give to artists? And then I know that artist management isn't a service that you do, but I would love to know, like, I don't even know what artists you manage. So I would love to know.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of my services, like I said, like on Twitter, I was doing a lot of market research. So I was just building relationships with artists. And it was over the height of the pandemic as well. So everyone was home. So I was on like weekly coffee chats with people. So I would just say every week I had a goal of like, I need to do 3 coffee chats a week. So even though I couldn't like network and connect with people, like, in person, I could still like build those relationships at a time where other people were home as well. So I built so many relationships just off of like Google like Meets and Twitter. So I had a chance to ask a lot of questions, got to meet a lot of artists. And then obviously as things started to open back up, I was able to travel, meet people in person, and then understand a lot more about where just like the common pain points were. And it was like, the marketing, the amplification of the music once it's out, once it's released. Like, understanding that, like, no, there needs to be a whole strategy behind not just the music, but also you as a brand. Like, if you're monetizing your music, you are business. And with that comes different things. So because I've done marketing for small businesses all the way up to some of the biggest brands in the world, like, I knew at the end of the day, the root of it is still branding. So that's where I already knew, had an inkling of like what services to kind of start with. Okay, obviously artists, and you talk a lot about brand identity and honing in on like your brand story, who you are, all those things. Like, at the end of the day, branding still has to come first. And like, I see it all the time. Like, there's a lot of artists who don't even know who they are, like, as an artist, but also too like a brand. If you ask them like those questions, it's like clueless. So I knew that there was already kind of like those common frustrations. And then obviously on the marketing side, when it comes to music marketing, there's a lot of like the paid marketing, the pay to play spaces, whether it's, PR, whether it's paying for playlisting, whether it's
paying to get on these digital platforms where people perform. You know what I'm saying? That's the new form of pay to play, because everybody wants to be on like, at first Colors was like the only thing that existed, but the pandemic, it created a space for a lot more platforms like that to go up. And a lot more platforms like that are going up, but now they're starting to charge artists to be put on their platform.
No,
And it's
no.
just, I'm just
Do
like,
not
bro.
pass go, y'all. Do not pass go. And I've seen them too, like, the emails that come in for some of my artists who we'll get into as well. Like, when they start asking for money in exchange or like paying for performance slots, I'm just like, no, never. Just just don't pass go.
Yeah, don't do it.
And they get so many artists with it, so many. I just wish I
Well,
could
how
stream
would
that
they
one
know
from the
any
rooftop.
better? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you're thinking like this is the way things go. I have to pay my dues. I guess when they said pay my dues, they literally meant pay my dues.
No.
And my mentee Tony, she's in here. She is literally like started on stage like theater kid, and when we started working together, she was telling me about all of the performances that she does, but that's because she's not scared to get on stage. Like she, you know what I'm saying? Like she figured it out. She went to the venues to see where she could perform. It's very much a networking thing, and people are scared to talk to people. People are scared to get on stage and perform, like.
Yeah. 1,000%. So I kind of knew that the whole marketing
Mhm.
part of it was also like the question marks for a lot of artists of like, how do I get my music out into the world? And when I was even building my services out, I was like, I just really want to hone in on organic
Yeah.
social for a reason. Organic social is hard. It's like it's not easy, but it's the most rewarding because what you build organically is what stays with
Feels so
you. So
good.
I like obviously when you think of music marketing companies, a lot of things that are going to come up are like these pay to play spaces of even you can pay for streams, you can pay for followers, you can pay a few $1,000s to get on, XYZ chart. You can pay for everything. I'm telling y'all right now. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to pay for it and think it's going to cut corners for you and it's going to stick, it's not. I promise you. So if you're not willing to do the work organically, like what you put money behind, and I've seen it and I've heard the stories, it don't last. And then artists don't understand, like, wait, why did all this dip down and all this stop? I was like, yeah, because you were putting money behind it, but you're not doing the work organically anyway. So that's why I focus on organic strategies. Yeah, there's always someone who's going to take your money.
Period.
Facts. They're out there, y'all, everywhere. So if you're looking for, marketing services, obviously both Jazz's on this screen are great resources. But if you don't come to us, just do your research and understand that, paying for XYZ, it's a temporary dopamine hit and then you still gotta do the work. So I love organic social, so that's where I built my services out to start. So we have services for like organic social strategy where we build out strategy plans. We do social media audits. That's another service. Our
That's
most
good.
popular our most popular service is the social and creative strategy retainer, where we work with like artists, creatives, or brands over a course of like 4 or 6 months typically. And we are just building out strategies for all the platforms that they're active on and, helping them implement creative pillars that are really unique to them, crafting monthly content strategy, helping them, schedule and post, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. So that's in like one of those services. And then there's another one that's super popular that's geared specifically to music rollouts. So that's usually for artists who are releasing an EP, LP, and they're going to be amplifying it over a course of like 6+ months.
Yeah.
So it's something that is for artists who are ready to go all in there on that side. So those are the ones that are definitely most inquired about and that, I am locking in most of my clients for. But we have other a la carte services like EPKs, press release, building, and I'm launching some other services this year. So that's kind of like how I built them out. But I really did a lot of market research first. Obviously, took a look and saw what was out there, who were some other people in the space offering what I was thinking I wanted to do.
Right.
Wasn't really finding some,
Yeah.
but not a lot, which is why I feel like I know so many people because I'm like, oh, let's connect.
Yeah.
Like I do that with everyone. Love it. I love building community.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I got started, and it's none of it's been overnight either. Like
Right.
building up the clientele, having people people that are inquiring. There was so much that had to go into this, so much trust that had to be built first, and still building it every single day because new people are finding out about me. But no, it's good. Like 2024 is gonna be a crazy year. A lot of great projects coming. So no, I'm excited to build. But no, I knew like when I launched that I needed to build something from the ground up. One big thing, so I could work with the artists that I
Yeah.
wanted to work with. Like, so when you work for somebody else, like there's never any guarantee of that.
Yeah.
So
I honestly, bro, like when I decided to, so my company originally started as an artist management company because that's all that I have ever done. All of my work in music has all been in artist management. Starting at Taylor Gang, going to Maverick, going to Sal & Co, all of that. But what's unique about my journey is I started with big artists first, and then I like went down to different artists at different levels of their artistry. So I started with Wiz Khalifa, who is like a legend in my eyes, at least. You know, Kush and OJ was my jam. And I saw him perform an anniversary performance of it, and I was working for him at the time, and I'm over here in the cut, rolling doobies up, like just I was like, oh damn, I fucked with this, I forgot.
I love it.
So starting with Wiz Khalifa, then going to Doja, and at the time when we first had Doja, like her most popular song was Moo. So we were working on recording the Juicy video, and you know, all of that kind of stuff. I literally got to see her go from a fucking internet viral sensation to a global pop icon, whatever. Like, I don't know what else to call, but like to see that in real time, bro, to see how these partnerships and people change when you start doing success, as opposed to when I'm chasing you, begging for, you know, to pitch opportunities and stuff. And now you following up with me about the stuff that I was trying to pitch to you, trying to rush my YouTube show idea. Wait, bro, like I pitched this in October when we had time to talk about it. Now the album's out. We got Jimmy Fallon performances and shit. So that, I mean, again, huge. But then also working with artists like Gallant, working with artists like Aaron Ray, who aren't emerging artists, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not emerging, they're not new, anything like that, but they still want to grow. They still want to make a certain amount of money so that they don't have to worry about their bills or anything anymore. And so, and then even going, you know, down, not down, but like, no, I'm not trying to go down. Everybody's great, but going to a different side, going to independent artists, that was a whole nother game, because I'm at these independent labels like, hey guys, what's the marketing plan? What's the this? What's the that? And everybody's like, I don't know, what is it? I'm like, wait a minute, wait. I gotta make that? Okay, all right, well, you know, so really, yeah, from the rooted to the tutor. And what made me go on TikTok and shit was I was on there trying to look for other people. I was trying to look for other people like me doing what I was doing so that I could just copy their content and get more clients. It didn't exist. It wasn't there.
You're like, where is it? No, that's exactly. When I say I was doing market research for years before I launched my agency, it was not overnight. It didn't just come on a whim, I promise you. But like, I did all the research. I was like, oh, we're just not here. Like, it doesn't really exist, not in this form. And there are very few people, I believe, doing it well. But that's my whole thing. That's a whole other topic. But because, like you said, like there's a lot that comes from experience too, which like obviously you got in. And there were some comments talking about Wiz. Yes, I love Wiz, y'all. And just so you know, you have two Jazzes in the room. I think most people have caught on. But yes, this is the Jazz and Jazz Insiders Chat.
I'm accepting every compliment for the both of us.
Single compliment
Jazz
is for the
equals
both
go, Jazz Queen. Yes, we are. We are Jazz squared. We like, this is the Jazz Time Jazz Power Hour, y'all.
Yes, y'all. No, thank you for being here. Shout out to everyone who has joined in. Appreciate y'all sharing time and space with us.
Absolutely. And you know what, y'all? I'm gonna touch on my Grammy week real quick, and then I want to ask
Please
Jazz
do.
one last thing about Unearthly Studios, and then we can transition to the question part because y'all really got some questions in there. So I'm excited to do the Q&A portion.
Me
Uh,
too.
so this week has been honestly one of my favorite Grammy weeks ever, and it's because I did not have any clients in town. So there wasn't this odd pressure that I would put on myself because my clients never did it to me. Let be very clear. I always put the pressure on myself of getting into the big parties and with the big names and with the all of that kind of stuff. And I this year let me know the community that I'm in because I have been at events every single night and I have had no problems getting in. Like the one thing that I thought might not get into was this. This was the Orchard's happy
Oh
hour
yeah, I
last
saw
night.
you post that.
Y'all, it was fucking lit. Like at the so I caught myself going to this Grammy panel for independent artists. And I was like, I'm gonna go to that panel first, then I'm gonna head over to the happy hour. Like I'm trying to do all the things. And when I show up there, they're like, it's closed, we're at capacity. I see a line of like 9 people go up. I said, okay, I don't like to be this girl. Tavar is my friend. He works at Orchard. I'm like, hey, I was like, oh shit, it's popping. And he's like, oh, are you in? And I was like, no, I'm downstairs. He said, meet me in the lobby. Met him in the lobby. He gave me a wristband. We went upstairs. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yep.
stuff, it just feels organic. And even when we went upstairs, it's like, bro, you ain't got to hold my hand. Like, thank you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that this is your work party. Like, go back to work. Like, I appreciate you. I love you. But don't be scared of marketing or networking, you guys. Don't be scared of going to places by yourself. If I was scared to leave the house and go to parties by
Very
myself,
true.
I wouldn't have gone anywhere this week. I went
Right.
everywhere by myself this week, and it's so freeing, it's so liberating, it's so much fun because you have friends everywhere. And if you don't, we're all here for the same reason. It's Grammy week.
Yep.
We all work in music. We all
Oh,
got something
I
to
was
talk
supposed to
about.
be there, but y'all, I'm still in the mountains last. But no, I wanted to be there. Next year I shall be there. I got invited to a bunch of cool stuff too, so I'm like, that just means I'll have more opportunities next year. I ain't gonna worry about it.
Yeah,
But no, I'm so glad you're having a great time,
yeah.
I've been seeing all of it. I've been seeing all of it.
We
So
honestly, Jazz, me and you, people like us, creative entrepreneurs working in the music space, we need events like this because they're really reaffirming. Like, as an entrepreneur, you are your own boss. Who is validating you and telling you, the work that you're doing is good? Like, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it. And validation, some people might be like, oh, don't seek external validation. No, I fucking need it. How else am I gonna know if what I'm
it's
doing is hitting, if what I'm
yeah,
doing is connecting? Like, of course it's great to have clients and to have, people, followers and all of that kind of stuff, but it's like, I want to know. I never want to fall behind because this industry is always changing. So going to
always,
events like this,
always.
seeing the panels, them speaking on how important it is for independent artists to also be like have an entrepreneurial mindset and stuff, that let me know the work that me and you are doing, we here. You know what I'm saying? Like
We've
we're
been
like we
here.
get
We knew we was early,
it.
but everyone's catching up. No,
Period.
like for real. And I will say too, I can attest to that because I feel like I feel like especially being an entrepreneur and as an artist, y'all are building businesses and you're building a brand around you. That's what you're doing, okay?
Yes.
It's hard and
Hella fucking
like even with all the content, even with all the the videos, like there's still so much that comes from experience, from being in the rooms,
yep.
from meeting the right
Yeah.
people. Like it's not just it is so much about who you know because you can get to know the wrong people real quick who will point you in the wrong
Yes.
direction. So I I'm very smart. So I like always knew that if I was going to come into this space, I had to align myself with the right people and put myself in the
Yeah.
right rooms. And that means stepping out of your comfort zone. And I know every artist, creative, entrepreneur, I know there's a mix of people in the room right now can attest to this, but yo,
Don't
it's
Be scared to
hard.
fail.
It's hard. And I even with those weekly coffee chats that I was just
Yeah.
doing over the course of the pandemic, where I was like, I don't care if I don't know them. I'm just gonna DM them, make a connection. Usually if they had followed me, I'll follow up. And I met so many artists just virtually, but artists, like music professionals who now, like a few years later, like they're our peers. Like I'm talking to them all the, like, on social or texting some of them and building real friendships and community. But it wouldn't have never happened if I wasn't even like, I could have found an excuse like, oh, I can't network with anyone, like
Right.
I can't go outside. No, I was like, I can't go outside, so
Right.
everyone's inside too. I'm
Right.
gonna use this phone and I'm gonna connect with the people. And then I even went to like the Digilog days in New York back in October, and I flew solo. Like I do a lot of solo travel, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go meet people.
Yeah.
So, and I've been interacting with the Digilog, on social. They've been supporting my artists and their releases for a long span of
Shout
time,
out
but
to
being able
Drew.
to get in the room, yes, love Drew, Dre and their team. But like, it was so great to be like, no, I need to get in person. I need to be in these rooms and in these circles. And just from going to Digilog days, not only was it like, it was always like, oh, it's scary to invest in
Mm-hmm.
yourself, but at the same time, I will gladly pay thousands of dollars, and I have, for mentorship, to go to masterminds, to go to conferences, because y'all, I promise you, if you want to find any sort of shortcut to your success, getting in those types of rooms are going to be what does it for
Mm-hmm.
you. And like the cool thing is too, there's so many like free spaces where you can go and network too, like you're
Yeah.
saying, events. Y'all live in different cities, so get out in your community. There's definitely some spaces for music somewhere.
Absolutely. Me and you met on
Create your
Twitter.
own.
Like I,
Like I
I was
said,
just like,
create
oh
your
my gosh,
own.
another Jazz who's like an artist manager. And like I was like, oh, this is great. And it's like, bro, but imagine if we were weirdos. Imagine if we were like the rest of the music industry that
I'm
thinks there can only be
talking to
one.
everybody.
Like, like what?
Right.
What? Like that and I named my company No Conformity for a reason. I'm not trying to do what everybody else is doing because and when I talk to my other music friends about how messed up the industry is, and it's weird. It's almost like they have like Stockholm syndrome where they are just really used to being treated like shit, where they're like, yeah, well, that's the way it is. And I'm like, no, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that for me. I'm not accepting
Mm.
that for my clients. Like, no, like that's not how I'm doing business. You know what I'm saying? So I love the new wave of entrepreneurs, especially women, in the music space. And I'm happy to have this platform.
Yeah.
Like, this platform was
Yeah.
not intended to be like highlighting women in music, but it's evolved into that. And I think it's because it's needed.
I remember, like, I was saying that. I was like, no, it's so needed. And there's not enough spaces for us to be able to, like, shine a spotlight on each other and one
Right.
another. And one, it's just needed on all levels.
Oh, yeah.
And we're so underrepresented in this business, in most businesses. Like, even coming from more of the corporate market inside, working with brands, I was usually one of the only women in the room, but definitely the only Black woman in the room.
Yeah.
So definitely that. So
Yeah.
like, we're just not represented
Right.
there, and that's a whole other conversation about people like doing marketing for just different like minorities, ethnicities that they don't belong to.
Hello.
Y'all, so many fights and battles I have fought with some of these brands that woo,
I
that's
hate
a whole other thing.
I
But
hate being the
it's
only
so
Black
true.
person at any company. I
Yeah.
don't want to explain Black culture. I don't want to explain our slang. I don't
None
want
of
to explain why Cardi
it.
B is exploding. I don't want to explain why the city girls are going up. Like like I'm having PTSD just thinking about it. I'm like,
See, this
I hate.
why I left. This is why I had to go. It's the whole reason. Part of the reason I had to go, like, even at my last agency, yeah, I was working with brands like Samsung, Microsoft, Popeyes, Puma. They were my
Yeah.
clients. Love them. But there is still so many other levels of like what we're able to do and what we can execute on, even going down to like campaigns and who we can put on campaigns. Like, there's so much stuff that comes with it, but even just within music, and you highlighted just how the series is evolving. Love it. It's so needed. We're so underrepresented in just the music business, like ourselves. And I tell people, like, when you break it down, like even just women artist managers, still about 20%. But when you break it down into like, okay, but how many of them are women of color and how many of them are Black women? The percentage is in the single digits. If we're thinking about music executives
Yeah.
like ourselves,
Yeah.
it's still the same slice of pie. So we're really not here
Yeah.
in the way that people seem to think. So, you know, it's needed. And I'm so glad, like, the communities that we're building, like, people are intertwining, they're meeting each other, and that's the whole point. That is the whole point.
Exactly. If I'm not going to be in the building with music artists anymore, and I'm not saying that I'll never go back to working in a music industry job, I'm just saying those jobs are going to always be there. The opportunity for me to build my own company and my own platform and all of my own things and have ownership where I don't ever have to rely on another company to pay my bills or tell me what
1000%.
my worth or value is again, that opportunity will not always be there. I mean, it can, but it only gets harder the older you get, because as you will learn, as you age, you only get more responsibilities. You only have more things that you need to pay for. You only have, you know what I'm saying? You only have more kids, more bills, more this, that, and the third. So there's no point in pushing off getting started. And something that I learned at a Grammy panel yesterday that I want to convey to every music artist, all 6 of y'all that are on here, is that there is a huge difference between being a casual artist and being a professional artist who takes this seriously. If you are a casual artist, you might release a few songs, realize how hard it is, and then give up. But a professional artist is not scared to fail, is not scared to reinvent themselves. They are not scared of any of the things that come with entrepreneurship, because they know what their end result is. Their end result is, I want to make a living off of my music. You know?
And with that, I always say there are no shortcuts to success. Like, you just really got to learn and you got to do the work. So it's so true. And the investment, obviously, it goes beyond just creating the music. Like, you have to be willing to do all of these things that we talked about. Networking, you have to be willing to collaborate. You have to form community. Like, you have to learn business. And I say the music business is one thing. And then the second part is you got to learn business in general.
Yeah.
I'm not a tax professional. I don't do that. I got one of those though. But like, even operating as a business, like you said, like you can't treat it as a hobby. Like, you have to have that entrepreneurial mindset from the beginning.
Yeah.
Or you're going with like, there are just so
this
many
shit
things
is
to know.
very hard, you guys. Because
very hard.
Wouldn't everybody be a fucking music artist if you could just go in, throw some auto tune on, and and make millions? What the fuck? Wouldn't everybody do it? Like, I don't, like, shit. Let me go ahead and shoot my shot. No, I'm playing. But okay, I really want us to transition into the Q&A portion. That's why I just threw a question on here for us to get started. So the Big House, TBH, says I'd be an artist, not a manager. No, for real. So what's the best way to approach an artist I want to work with that I don't have a connection to? Now, did we answer this question for you already, or did you want us to answer this?
Yeah, I got some thoughts.
Why don't you go ahead? Go ahead. I think he said we might have answered this already, but go ahead and answer him.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like I'm talking to artists all the time. We did answer it. Okay, I'll do like a quick little tidbit. For me, definitely just building relationships with artists. Like I said, I am on Twitter most of the time, but I also follow a lot of artists on Instagram. I follow thousands of artists, y'all. It's probably, I need to stop following so many people.
Overwhelmed,
but I just really
just in that breath.
That's a lot. But no, I love it because that's how I find artists, and I just want to keep up with them, and I know I can't see every single post, so I'm just like, if I see something, I see something. But I just started being being a fan and just supporting them organically is the best way to build that relationship. The artists that I work with, I was a fan of their music first. So there's
Yeah.
also that. And I couldn't manage an artist if I don't like listen to your music. If I don't, obviously we talk about like caring about you as a person, all these other things beyond just the transactional and business stuff. But I got really love your music. So I feel like people like I have a list. I got a whole list of dream clients, dream artists, like a whole list of artists. I can't work with everyone, but I will work with some of these artists over time. But I have a list of artists that like I really love, like even just from like a manager and or like marketer. I was like, yo, it would be cool to work with them in some capacity at
Yeah.
some point. But I have a list and like I do try to keep up with people. So
Yeah.
whether that's like turning on my notifications so I can like see their posts, interact, supporting them like with my dollars is big, and that's really like genuine. Like if they have a merch drop, or like one of my friends that I love, like Pat Jr., he had a mixtape that came out, so he produced like gold and black mixtapes, so I got those, like ways that I can support them, like with my dollars as well, and
Yeah.
circulate that currency and that love. That's just some ways that I've built relationships with artists. But it's like I said, it's truly off the like love for their music first and wanted to support them as artists and creative, of course, second.
Ron Harper said, or I probably pronounced your name wrong, I'm so sorry, but he said,
Oh, what is that?
whenever I discover a dope artist, Jazz already there in the comments.
Yeah, I
In
have
these
gotten that
streets.
feedback so much. Like, okay, I really do follow a lot of people. I really try like to genuinely show people love. I just believe in life. You're gonna always get back what you give, and it's not a like a tick for tat thing. But it's more of like that good karma comes back around. I'm quick. Yeah, I'd be trying. But I really do want to see y'all win. So even if like I can't support someone like with my dollars at that time, like if I can just like send you a DM, like or respond to like a post or like share it, like sharing is free. I just believe like you don't get what you give,
Yeah.
so what are you giving out type thing? Because a lot of people want support but they don't give it, so that's a
Right.
whole other thing.
And honestly, I threw another question up there, but it's because you're kind of already answering it, which is what makes Instagram a good platform for building community specifically.
Yeah,
And so for me, the reason why I say Instagram is a good community building platform is because who follows you on Instagram? Your people, your friends from high school, your friends from college, your family. Like it is your actual community. And then as we are growing, when I'm out in these streets, I'm exchanging Instagrams like business
for
cards.
sure.
You know what I'm
Oh yeah, that is a business
saying?
card.
It
Let
is
me
like a
follow you on
business card.
IG.
Yeah. And so it's like when you come to my Instagram, it's almost like I have a personal Instagram that is Jazzi J, and then I have the No Conformity Instagram, which
Right.
is like a business resume of the ways that I help music artists. And so I always give out my personal Instagram to build a community there because you can follow my other pages from there. But if you are going to support me as a human being, you're going to want to know who I am. So I am
Mm-hmm.
a mother. I am a wife. I am a disciple of God. I am, more than just a founder and a CEO.
Yep.
But people fuck with Jasmine Kierra, the human being, first. And then they will fuck with my platform and everything else that comes with it. And that's the same thing for all of you music artists and creators. People are going to fuck with you as a human being first, and then they're going to buy your shit.
When 1,000%. Which like, and we do social all day. So in terms of Instagram, I love IG. There's just nothing that can take me away from Instagram, y'all. But Instagram's great for so many reasons. Even like IG stories, I feel like that's something I don't see enough artists like really capitalizing on in the best way. Like if people follow you to like follow you and click the follow button to stay up to date with you, if they're watching your Instagram stories and you notice the same people watch your stories pretty
Mm-hmm.
consistently, those are your more super fans. You're from an artist perspective, like those are your super fans. Those are like those core supporters who want to stay updated with you. So like IG is great for obviously stories. Obviously sharing reels, all that stuff's great
Right.
too. But I just feel like some of these other features on Instagram specifically, as I build out strategy, I always hone in on Instagram stories and using that really as a place to engage with your audience. Use those features, the little engagement boxes, ask them questions. IG broadcast channels are another part of Instagram that a lot of people, I know not everyone has access to these just yet, but if you do have access to IG broadcast channels, I would recommend starting one. Also, that's a great way to know, like, if people are following your broadcast channel, that's likely where your super fans are, and that's where you can still build and nurture your community. So those are just some other Instagram features that I say, like, look into and start to use.
I didn't even know about the broadcast channels, but that's where people like pay, right? Where people can get like donations and stuff, or what is that?
So that would be Instagram subscriptions, but the broadcast channels, like, and I'll send you an article, so you can just like check them out.
Mm-hmm.
The broadcast channels it's like a closed like group space where only you as a creator can post updates in there. So your community that's opted in can see your updates. So you can share like little voice notes to your community.
Wow.
So artists each week, y'all can share a little voice note with your community. You can share polls. You can have Q&As in there. So it's a great place to interact with your community and with your fans, but also a way for them to, like, people want to feel like they belong. Like, at the end of the day, all of this, building a fan base is about connection. So any way where people can feel like, oh my gosh, like, he asked me a question about which merch design to do, which I know I've seen in one broadcast channel, or like, hey, I'm going to answer some fan questions on a Q&A. What are your questions for me? So broadcast channels, y'all, look into them. If you have a creator account, you should have access at some point. I know business accounts, though, I don't think you can do them. So just try it on your creator account if you have that one.
Yeah. Fabulous. Well, okay. Perfect transition into this next question, which is any digital resources to find musicians or creatives to collaborate with?
Ooh, that's such a great question. I would say really looking into communities, and this could be like online, of course. There's stuff, but also like, I don't know, like, just depending on where you're located in your city or nearby cities. I would say like one of the communities I've been very tapped into, I know I mentioned before, was the Digilog, and they're a more global music community. They got curators in different cities around the world. They host events around the world. I know they just had one yesterday for Grammy Week in LA, but I went to their music business conference in New York City. So they have different events in different places, but that's where artists and other creatives and obviously music business professionals are there to meet, to interact, and where you're going to find people. Yeah, the Digilog is just an example of one for sure, but to collaborate with. And then also, so that's more like one that's definitely online too. Another place that I've been in a lot is Two Lost Office Hours, and Two Lost is a distro, and they've been hosting these weekly office hour sessions, bringing in different like other thought leaders and educators to talk about different topics. Like this Monday, we did one on like deals and stuff, and like how to get a deal, what to look for in a deal. So they brought in an entertainment attorney to come and speak about that. But that's like a digital community where we're all in that Zoom space together, and it's like the same people every week. But there are like resources online for sure, and I can follow up with you post call with some more for sure. But yeah, those are just a couple that I've been in a lot. And like I said, I live in the mountains, y'all. Like, I got deer that visit me. So I don't live in any major city right now. So all of the community and like finding other creatives, and I've met so many obviously artists. I've been doing that all online, like social platforms.
Yeah.
So yeah, like take advantage of socials, especially Twitter. Twitter is great. Twitter is like the one. Yeah.
Because we're not here to judge each other on our looks or our videos. All we're doing is talking to each other on Twitter. Yeah. It's a huge music community. So whether you are looking like literally playlist curators, artists, artist managers, A&Rs, people who work at label, like everybody is on Twitter.
We're all on there. What's up, Kai? Yeah, no, we're all on there. So Twitter is my favorite way to network. I feel like I have, like, even you and I met on Twitter. like all of these collaborations I've done for Unearthly, even with Breezy, that was off of Twitter. Like, so, and more collaborations are coming, like for the agency this year, and they're all because of the relationships I built off of
Yeah.
Twitter. So Twitter is just great for networking with other creatives. Even like my artist Seth, he's like, people just listen to some, like if someone shares a snippet and like someone just will ask like, hey, can I hop on this? And then like a collaboration happens
Right.
between artists, like from Twitter or from these social platforms every single day.
Yeah.
Y'all, like that's how all these things are happening,
Right.
is because everyone's following each other. You know, artist collaborations are, you know, happening from the DMs.
Yeah.
Like, so use these free social platforms to your advantage. And I feel like the whole goal of social is to be social. So
You
yeah,
know?
you just gotta talk to people. Sure.
And I feel like Twitter is the easiest place for people to socialize, because that's all we're in there doing. And literally, Jazz, you posted the flyer that I made for this, and I was like, I asked like, oh, just tag a few people who could think, and I don't know how many you tagged, but I think like almost all of them are interested on coming here. So I have like 2
Let's
months
go.
worth of guests from Twitter
That's what this is
alone.
about.
And I'm like, my sister, what? Because Jazz has a bigger community on Twitter than I do, like hands down. And for you to use that community to support me, like you're always uplifting me on that community. I feel like the
You know I
only
got you.
why I'm tapped into the music community on Twitter is because like you co-sign me a lot and you put different people onto me. So thank you so much. My sister.
Of course. Yeah, I cannot. Y'all gonna have to tune back in because the lineup she's gonna have for these future like episodes, you're not gonna want to miss
You're not
them.
gonna want to miss
A
it.
lot more is coming, and no, I like that's what my thing is. Like, we're all here for a common goal, right? And we like whether we do the same thing or we're collaborating with other creatives in this space. Because I come from the film side of things,
Yeah.
no movies getting made by like, okay, there are some people filming their own movies and doing that, but very few movies are made
Right.
with just one person. It's all about collaboration. It's all about working with other
Yeah.
creatives in the community. So I always have had that mentality of like, I'm here to like, I want to inspire, guide, and uplift people, but at the end of the day, it's about people.
Yeah.
Like none of this shit matters. Like the success, like I don't care what accolades come from it. I don't care who wins what award. Like I
Right.
don't care if it's never me in that sense.
Yeah.
But if I know that I'm having like such a positive impact on the like people, like whether they just see my tweets or they work with me as a client or they're an artist that I like manage more day to day, everything you do has a ripple effect. So do you want to be positive or do you want to be negative? That's not up for me to decide. But like my thing was like, I just want my ripple effect to always be good. So like building community is where it's at. And I'm just so excited to see you continue to grow. There are no limits. And yeah, this is just going to be a big year for us. I just feel it. And so it is. So no, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate all the love in the comments. Like I'm the worst at keeping track of them when I'm on live, but y'all, I see you in here. Recognize so many artists that y'all, I love them. So no, thank y'all for tuning in
Yeah.
and showing love back and just sending love y'all way this weekend. So just wanted to say that. I see another question though.
Yes. So this is a really
Oh,
good
that's a
one.
big
So
one.
this week, Universal Music Group decided to take all of their artists' music off of TikTok. And so the question is, and honestly, that feels selfish as fuck to me personally, because it's not about the artists, because artists are going to want to promote their music on TikTok. TikTok has already been proven to be a place where people are 2 or 3 times more likely to say that they have found music. So they might front and say that this was for the benefit of, the music artists. It's a lie. It's for money. It always comes back to money. So with the recent news with UMG and TikTok changing, which platforms would you decide to put your effort into? So for me, I can go first. When I work with content creators, or not even content creators, when I work with music artists and we're trying to figure out like what works best, it's what app do you use the most? Are you a consumer on that app? Because if you are a consumer on that app for finding other music artists or doing the things that you want to do on that app, it is going to be easy for you to promote yourself on that app because you are your target audience. You know what you like to consume. So it's going to be easy and inspirational for you to be able to create things for other people to consume. So it's really a personal thing, but I'm gonna let y'all know right now, Instagram Reels is going up because they are competing with TikTok's virality. So if you are here for some reach, if you want a moment, jump into Reels. But don't give up on TikTok because TikTok changes very fast. And you know what I'm saying? Just because the catalog was removed doesn't mean you can't promote your music as an independent artist or anything on there. That means that you should be an independent artist and not tied to a major label so that a major label doesn't get to make a decision like that. And now you have no control over promoting your music on the platform where you are getting most of your streams or interactions from.
Yeah. Hi Wyatt, what's up? What's up? I see some more familiar people in the comments. What is up, y'all? Welcome in. So yeah, on this one, y'all, I don't know. I already knew something. I knew something like this was gonna happen at some point in time because I've just been in social forever. And I always knew with music licensing that TikTok was always in a hairy place and their time was coming for something to happen. So didn't know it was going to be this necessarily. I don't think it changes anything that I do personally in terms of strategy because like you said and like you touched on, when I build out strategy for my clients in general, I always zero down on like what are the 3 to 4 platforms we want to focus on. If TikTok's not one of them, cool. Like I said, y'all, I'm not even really on TikTok. Like I'm not. I'm gonna eventually post some stuff, but it's not one of my like platforms that I'm zeroed in on because I've had to use it a lot to consume content for work, but I'm not on it as a consumer day to day. I'm on Instagram, so that's why I was like, hey, you just need one short form platform. Yes, you can like repurpose your content anyway, so there's that. But like, if you love Instagram, then go all in on Instagram, even if you don't use TikTok. But I will say with the whole catalog getting removed, I feel like it doesn't change anything. Y'all should still be promoting your stuff if you can anyway. And who knows what's going to happen as the ripple effects of this. But I mean, it doesn't change anything for me. I'm still going to build up platform strategy for TikTok for my clients because it doesn't change. It changes things for a lot of artists, but not for a lot of artists that are even in the spaces that we touch. Y'all not with UMG. So could this be a much larger conversation in social with other labels doing something similar? We'll see.
Sure. Take
but
it all off so that TikTok is the independent artist app. Take off the competition.
Been getting away with a lot.
Get him out of here. No, I want the best for all music artists. I don't discriminate or hey, I'm not gonna wish that on nobody.
Look, I've seen platforms come and go over 10 years. So look, if TikTok doesn't make it in 5 years, where's there's just so many apps that I'm just like, ooh, these apps come and go, which is why we talk about building community. And so like, even if you're building your TikTok, build your community and funnel people into your own platforms because TikTok might not be here in 3 years, 5 years. We don't know that. So I don't think it changes the strategy right now. I feel like everyone should pay attention to stuff like this. But I always knew when TikTok got started, because they rely so heavily on music and sound, that they was going to get in a scary place at some point.
Eventually. We always know the white man at the top going to get greedy and want their money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I thought when they made it like, you know, oh, well, it counts as a stream. I was like, okay, well, you know, that's how we going to do that right there. But nope, even more. Yeah.
It's all about profit. That's what they care about. Yeah.
Woo. Oh wait, my friend Kaylin had a question about a EPK on here, but I don't see it on here anymore. So I guess I'll do this last question. I feel like it's really good, and it says, when Is it time to drop an EP? Do you suggest continuing singles until your streams get large? Jazz, I want you to take this first since I took the last one first.
Yeah, it's all a great question. I know people don't like the it just depends, but I feel like it just depends. But I do feel like very strongly that either way, if you were doing an EP, you would have at least a core focus single or two, depending on the length of the EP. So you would still do some of those single drops regardless. So I feel like every artist is different, and I've seen it different with different artists. Like some artists, they love producing albums and projects that have like a narrative, a theme, a concept. And, you know, if they are doing singles, it's leading up to something that's more
Yeah.
cohesive and tells that larger story. So I can't say when is it right for someone to drop versus another. I don't believe you need to wait until your streams get large to drop an EP or an album. I don't believe that. But if you're dropping like, I don't know, 10 albums a year. This is excessive, right? But there are people like Will Russell, I love him, but he drops like a lot, dozens of projects a year. It works for him, great. But if you're like dropping a lot of music, but you're not doing the amplification to continue to promote your music into the world, I feel like that's where it's like for me of like, what should you
Right.
do if you're not doing that work? But there's, I don't know, there's no clear like right time of when I say like, okay, do it. Like you need to wait until you have, you know, X numbers of streams on a song to drop a full length album, or you need to have a certain number of monthly listeners as a metric that you're trying to judge that off of. I was like, that might not be right for you. You might have under 1,000 monthly listeners and want to drop a full length album. I know that because like that's how like Seth and I have built. Like we've just grown his stuff like steadily like from the beginning, but there were like EPs and there were full length like projects in between those mixes. So
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like you have to do what feels right for you at the end of the day. And if you feel like an EP is what you want to do to tell that larger story and get that out, I don't care what level you're at. Like I don't care if you're just starting your Spotify account tomorrow. Like if you want to do an EP and you feel like that's like what's in your heart, like then follow your gut, but just have a plan of like, okay, like what is that one or two focus singles that I'm like, I'm gonna go all in on. Like I gotta really push these. Like so
Yeah.
that's just my thing from a marketing perspective because I see a lot of great music that's just released, EPs and projects, but you know,
If it's not
there's not a
marketed
lot.
and promoted,
It just
it's just
yeah,
out there.
it's just out
So
there.
I guess my answer for that would be um it's time to drop an EP when you feel like you have a fan base that will support the release of your EP. And you know, gauging if you have a fan base or not, it's different to everybody has different indicators. Something Jazz said previously was, you know, to have ownership of your community. And the way that you can have ownership of your community is if you have a website and if you are collecting emails and if you are sending newsletters. Like, bro, send one every 3 months. It ain't gotta be every week. It ain't gotta be every month. Like, do
Yeah.
what you're able to actually do and what you're able to actually, you know, consistently do. And that's how you gauge like if you are growing. So your streams getting larger is cute, but what if they only liked that one song? What if they don't like you as a music artist? That really shouldn't determine if you are going to drop an EP. And also, do not drop an EP that is just a bunch of fucking songs. Like, if you're gonna do it, have a aesthetic, have a concept. What do these songs have to do with each other? How are these songs telling your story? Like, be intentional with your release so that
Yeah.
people who are supporting you, the fan base that you do have, don't feel let down by the music. Because if you were just going to release a bunch of songs, you could have done that one song at a time, you
Yeah.
know?
Nah, you touched on all great points of that, and like that's why I said like it's all about building that community around everything you're doing, which is why what Jazz and I do, like it's so it's so crucial.
Yeah.
Like, because all these things you talked about, like marketing and newsletters and website, like that's a business.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like all these things, like when it comes back to like artists, like the artists, like in the artist business, like it's changing because, you know, everyone wants, you know, like be an independent artist, but like that comes with
Mm-hmm.
learning all of these different things and doing all these different pieces. At some point, like probably for yourself until you can start, you know, outsourcing some of these things. So,
Absolutely.
but
All right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap up the Q&A portion. I'm sorry, I know I didn't get to answer everybody's questions in
thanks for
there, but
submitting questions.
yeah,
Like,
thank you. Like, what a great
truly,
problem to have. Are we kidding? That's so awesome.
hold on.
I appreciate you guys all coming on here. But just to kind of close out and summarize this, because we've almost been on here for an hour and a half at this point. It is very important for music artists, music managers, people in the music space to build your community, have ownership of your connection with your audience and with your fans. It is important to have a business mindset, whether you are a DJ, a producer, a songwriter, or a singer, rapper, recording artist. You are an entrepreneur and you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You can't be afraid to fail. Like, imagine if Uber and all these people who innovated these apps were afraid to fail. They never would have gotten started. You guys, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be afraid to fail and don't be afraid to ask for help. Me and Jazz literally have our businesses to help artists in ways that record labels and other business partners don't and aren't. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because they don't have the bandwidth to give this help to every artist that's on their roster. So we saw a space, you know, see a need, fill a need, and we getting in here, okay?
We are here to help. And yeah, between both of us too, y'all, we have so much just gems to share. Like, I have my stuff that I do every month. Jazz has her weekly episodes. So stay tapped in, stay connected, come back, tell your friends. But like, there are great people in this business, like really here to help y'all and want to see y'all win and are champion your success. So yeah, it was so great to be here today. I loved our conversation and it was so overdue, like so long overdue.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I mean, just so you guys know, Jazz and I talk on a regular basis and we try to have at least monthly calls. And so what we're doing with you guys today is basically what we do on calls, we help each other. I want to leave off on that note too. Please stop competing and start uplifting. Jazz, like, imagine if I was like, Jazz doesn't come from music. What do I need to be her friend for? Like, if I was super transactional,
Yeah.
like, I would have never met this amazing friend who has helped me in so many ways. And she really kind of helped me be like, dang, I know more than I thought I knew. Dang, like shit, like I feel like Jazz, being friends with you has really helped me be an entrepreneur because you just always validate me. You're like, no, you got this. You can do it. Like, you know what you're
Got
doing.
this.
Like,
And it's hard. I be telling people there's some weeks where I gotta just cry it out because there's nothing. Because, and I tell people that all this time, you see the glitz and glamour and like the accolades and success, but none of this is easy. Every day is hard. Like, you're always outside of your comfort zone. And I know that we have a lot of artists that are in our community, and I know y'all get it. Like, it's hard. It's hard work. You have to find like-minded people to surround yourself with and to be in community with and inspired by. Like, and it's possible. Like, that's why I'm just like, I always say, like, I don't have no competition. Like, and I don't say that to be like full of myself, but it's
right.
so true.
Yeah.
Like, and there's just way too much of the crabs in the barrel mentality when there is, I promise you, there's enough space for all of us to eat.
Period.
Like, so.
That's why you unearthly, and that's why I don't conform. Ooh!
Exactly. This is what we saying. No, this has been so great.
Yeah.
And no, I'm just so proud of you and everything you're building with No Conformity, all of the work that you've already
Thank
done. And
you,
obviously, we're just getting started this year.
literally.
Okay, we're just getting warmed up. So.
Yes. Yep. Well, that's it, you guys. Follow us for more. I will have the replay available on YouTube next week. And follow, tap in with me next Friday to see who I have on live. Ooh, I know who I'm going to have on live. If you guys are interested in brand partnerships, you should definitely circle back.
Oh,
That's where the
can't wait.
money at.
Truly, coming from that world, I will tell you that these brands got dollars and they got budgets, and that should be one of your income streams as a creator to diversify. But that's a whole other thing. But I cannot wait to hear that conversation. And thank y'all for tuning in, for being here, and for everyone who was able to stay throughout this. Y'all the real ones.
Y'all the real ones.
No,
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate everyone so much.
All right. Bye, you guys.